You just got your asses whipped by a bunch of goddamn nerds. Nerds!
Welcome back, everybody. And it's been a crazy 2 weeks because of Superman. It's been summer of Superman, and it's off to a flying start. We've seen it we saw it 2 weeks ago early, thanks to Amazon Prime. And being that there's this huge buzz about Superman, it's doing really well in the theaters, and all the performances are actually really good. The only real issue I've heard is Hawk Girl screaming. A lot of people are really complaining about that. But there's a lot of conversation going on with what James Gunn has planned next. We know we're getting Supergirl and Lanterns, the TV series on HBO Max in 2026. But he has big plans going forward, and there were some doubters. There were still some Snyderverse loyalists, and I love the Snyderverse, but I'm not a loyalist like that. I have come to grips that it's over. As much as I love the Snyder Cut, it's over. They're not coming back. James Gunn is in full control, and he's got a lot of plans planned out. He's even said he loves Gorilla Grodd. He has plans for him. Excited to see what he does with that. But going back to Superman, there's been a lot of theories, and they're kind of based off of Superman and Ultraman, their final fight, and Ultraman gets thrown into the black hole. Superman's able to survive it with his freeze breath, and with Metamorpho helping him and Krypto and the baby out, but Ultraman ends up going into the black hole. So I'm going to start with Cole. Do you have any theories regarding that? Because that is the talking point right now, is what happened to Ultraman, him going into that black hole. Now we're talking about this because the website The Direct, they're saying that that particular scene sets up a Superman sequel, or what's coming down the pipeline for the DCU. So, Cole, any theories after seeing the movie? Any theories regarding anything coming forward with the DCU?
So, looking at it, right, Ultraman, if he was to be gone and it was over for him, that would suck. I think they have an opportunity to take that character and expand him. My personal theory is that he's going to turn into Bizarro and not be part of the Ultraman crime syndicate. Him going into that black hole, a theory of mine would possibly be that he ends up in another world where, instead of the Earth being round, it's squared, not flat, and Bizarro world will be created. So that would be my theory on that.
So, Booba, same question to you. I mean, if you have the same theory, that's fine. But you are the analyzer. You know, for lack of a better word, is the analyzer here, and it's you do the deep dive. You know, you see me. I'm just too. I'm blinded by the lights.
You're here for the show.
I'm blinded by the lights, but you see it a different way. What about you? You have a theory.
I'm going to lean on what Kojak is saying. There are a couple of things here, right? So this version of Ultraman, who is a copy of Superman, same like Bizarro, couldn't really think for himself. He had to have codes kind of inputted to get him to do things. He didn't speak. He did what he was told, almost kind of childish in a sense, which again leads me to believe that this version of Ultraman will become Bizarro, where we're going to get hopefully we get a different version of Ultraman down the road. This is what I'm seeing, right? This is what I'm seeing. I'm seeing a dumb brute with Superman's powers who needs codes to tell him how to punch, how to kick, and how to do things. So that's where I see Bizarro. Where I want them to take it are two different things. I think that very much, if we remember in the Snyder Flash, there really wasn't a Superman in that Michael Keaton world, which makes sense because Superman would have probably stepped in if he saw what was going on in Gotham. Hence why the Michael Keaton world really didn't have a Superman but a Supergirl in a sense. So I'm thinking here that he can bump into that type of world where there's an Owlman, where there's a Superwoman, and he becomes the Ultraman, because that's what he knows his name to be, of that universe, wanting to get back to this universe where where Superman and the Justice Gang is there. I hate that name, by the way. But that's what I'm hoping they do take it. I hope they take the Crime Syndicate. But everything that I've seen on film, everything that James Gunn has shown a Bizarro type of character versus an Ultraman type of character. That's my take.
So I'm for I to me the most likely is the Bizarro world. If they went down that road, that's the most likely one is the Bizarro world, because a clone of Superman and not clone to the T, as far as not an exact replica of Superman, but he has, of course, some of his abilities, and he, like you said, he's a dumb brute, probably can't speak. If they do bump into him again, he probably has limited vocabulary. But of course, where I would go is once I found out the clone's name was Ultraman, I was like, hey man, what is he doing? That's Crime Syndicate Superman, why is he doing that? But again, the same way that black hole could lead into Bizarro World, it could lead into Earth 3. Like you said, he bumps into these other, there's Ultraman and Superman, there's Batman and Owlman, there's Wonder Woman and Superwoman. Now, if you look at Crisis on Two Earths, the animated movie, it shows that they all kind of have their own, their own pairing in Earth 3, and of course they're the evil group, and then you got Luthor, the leader of the Justice League. So imagine this Luthor in Earth 3 leading the Justice League. But again, these are all the theories that are going out. I've always been kind of enamored with the Crime Syndicate, and this is before I even heard of the Crime Syndicate. I remember watching Super Friends. I believe it was Superman who ended up on another Earth. And they were evil. Like, Batman was red and had a mustache. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I was just... And I'm thinking about it as a kid. I'm watching it. And I'm like, why does he have a mustache? But then they explained it. He's in an alternate universe. They're evil there, but Superman wasn't. I think they actually switched. The evil Superman went to where Superman was. They swapped. So Superman had these dark circles around his eyes, but it's a long time ago. But I was so into the episode because I'm like, wow, they're actually evil here. You know what I mean? And of course, Superman, the evil Superman, was thinking, oh, I can take over here because, again, the Homelander thought process, the Omni-Man thought process that no one can beat me, so I can do whatever I want here. But that goes way back to Super Friends when I first started watching these getting involved in comics and superheroes and stuff like that. But I am looking forward to seeing what else he has coming down the pipeline. There are some Easter eggs, and again, we did a no spoiler episode, and we did a spoiler episode where we kind of did a deep dive into what we liked, specific scenes, specific outcomes of the movie. But have you guys seen any Easter eggs after you've seen the movie? Have you heard, being that you're not worried about anything getting spoiled for you, have you seen any other Easter eggs besides what this article has kind of pointed us in the direction of theories, but any Easter eggs as far as the movie's concerned? Cool.
For me, I really haven't. Like, the only Easter eggs I caught was that there was a Justice League prior when in the Hall of Justice. I thought the whole Hall of Justice looked great, and then the fact that they had the mural, for me, that really caught my eye, and I'm curious to know more in depth of the Justice League of America when they were, back during the World Wars, World War One and World War Two, when they first came out. So, but besides that, not really much.
The only one that is the one that actually Pete put me on, which was that Christopher Reeve's son was a news reporter. He's actually a news reporter too. He's a real news reporter. That was actually the Easter egg that I found the most like wow for me. But like I said, the movie with its whole universe pockets and again leaves the door open for Crime Syndicate more than Bizarro. It leaves more than that. And for those that don't know Bizarro, his Earth is called Threa, which is Earth backwards or something like that. Yeah, which is hilarious.
That is funny, yo.
It's great. He'll come in and say goodbye, and he'll leave and say hello.
Yeah. But could you imagine if we start doing that to people? They'll be like, "What the hell is wrong with these guys?" Goodbye.
He's definitely on drugs.
No, but that's the only Easter egg that I saw. I was really looking at that fight scene against Superman and Ultraman, and maybe the U turn a certain way where it becomes the S backwards, but that didn't happen, right? That would have been very cool because if you take a U and you go like this to it, it looks like an S backwards. So that didn't happen. So it would have been dope if it happened. Bizarro, right there, you would have known it right there, but that didn't happen. So you just don't know. But before we get introduced to Crime Syndicate, I think we need the Batman movie first. We need the Green Lantern movie. So if we see a Crime Syndicate movie, I think we're talking about 3-4 years down the road.
Definitely.
Because you'd have to introduce the heroes before you introduce the villains. Unless James Gunn does something really crazy and just gives us a Crime Syndicate movie on that planet and then showing what's coming to this planet. I don't know, and I'm not a director in any form or fashion, but I'd like to see of course, the heroes and have a kind of an intimate, like I want to root for these guys because I know what's coming type of scenario.
Well, look at what he's already introduced us to: Superman, Hawkgirl, Guy Gardner, Mr. Terrific, and Metamorpho. That's 5 right there. Lanterns is coming, so you add John Stewart, that's 6. And I'm not saying that's the Justice League or whatever, but I'm laughing because I think this is a good job because look at the debate he's created. It could be Bizarro, and look, because he used the name Ultraman, I think that opens the possibility of using the Crime Syndicate. Otherwise, I'd be like, yo, that's gonna be Bizarro because when I'm watching the movie the first time, I'm like, that's Bizarro. And then Cole's talking about that black hole leads to Bizarro World. So look at the debate, the conversations we're having just based off that one scene. And we can all be wrong. We may never see him again. Mm-hmm. But the sad. Ultraman tease, the clone, like Pooba said, the dumb brute, he lines up to be Bizarro. It also lines up to be Crime Syndicate, but we don't know, which is dope because he's created this excitement for the DCU going forward. I honestly go ahead, Fems.
And this is why I like the movie because, like I said prior, you go in the comic book store and you grab October's issue of number 3, and it gives you a quick snippet of what's happened prior. You just see the plot, and then you leave it open for the next comic book to come out. Similar to this movie, for me, Supergirl is going to be a continuation of the Superman movie as well. I wouldn't be surprised if Superman did a cameo in that movie.
Oh, absolutely. I again, it seems like James Gunn has a plan. It looks like he's learned from when he was working at Marvel. They're not announcing a movie until there's a script ready. They're not casting anybody until there's a script ready. So it's not like, hey, look, we saw that Doomsday got pushed back to later in 2026. They're still working on parts of the script. But it's because they announced it, there's pressure to get it done. He knows he's running the show. Now, we're not doing anything until I see a script that we like. And then we'll go forward, which I think is the smart way to do it because you're not backed into a corner. Like, oh shit, we got to get this out. We got to start in a couple weeks, but we don't have a script yet. I'm super confident, even more confident going forward in the plan now, based on seeing Superman, everybody's reaction to it. You got people here and there sprinkled that don't like it, but it seems like it's more in favor of those who like it than those who don't. So, thumbs up to James Gunn, and honestly can't wait. I'm super excited. Probably had the same feeling back in the early Marvel days, and never thought I'd have it for DC, but I do now. So I've seen the movie twice, and even better the second time, because I ended up liking Crypto a little bit more.
That's my guy.
After the second time, and I remember when he first announced Crypto was going to be in the movie, I was like, damn, he really goes for it, because look, he did Groot, he did Rocket, a talking tree and a talking raccoon. What's a raccoon? But he did that, and for him to do Crypto is super on brand for him. Somebody even remember I saw this is something else. Remember when they were with the Justice Gang? I don't like the name either. The Justice Gang were fighting in the background, and Superman was talking to Lois, and he said, "Oh, that's just an imp." Mm-hmm. So, an imp is what Mxyzptlk is. So people were starting to think, "Oh, is that Mxyzptlk?" And he said, "No, that's just something." James Gunn himself has confirmed that that's just it's no big deal. But one other thing about James Gunn is that he really is a fan. He's a fan, and that to me is showing on the screen. It's shown in his previous work, and I think it's going to show down the line. So I'll ask Puba to, on the way out, your final thoughts on Superman, being this is our third time talking about this, but now we're talking about possibilities down the line because of what we saw in the movie.
No, listen, I'm just going to stick to my score at 7.5. And I haven't rewatched the movie to give it a second score or things of that nature. And just alone on the scene that you mentioned, I had a conversation today, and someone said, is it like Superman, who wanted to save all things, to see that happening in his city, in Metropolis, and he didn't go and go towards that?
But he addressed it. I'm sorry, Puba. But he addressed it in the movie. He told Lois, he said, they can handle that.
Right. So, and I get what you're saying, right? But there's the debate whether they can handle it or not. If Superman was available, I don't see him not helping.
But what you're saying, I get what you're saying, but he was dealing with finding out the message from his parents.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack there in that moment, right? Because you have to understand. And plus, I wanted that moment, Cole. I agree with you. I wanted that moment where Lois is asking the questions about his parents versus the Green Lantern and Mr. Terrific. We're questioning him. That's what I'm saying. Listen, you're absolutely right. My final take on this kind of situation is that while for me it's a 7.5, that's actually a really good rating in my book. Yeah. And to have the door open, to have this type of conversation of what are they doing next, or what did the movie implicate, and the fact that we're having a conversation about it makes it that much of a good movie where you can have a conversation with, versus like, oh, one and done, I'm good. When we first saw Iron Man, who kind of set off their MCU, and we saw Nick Fury walk in, it was like, okay, where are they taking this now? Not only have you introduced me to Iron Man, but you just introduced me to Nick Fury. I see Avengers, but we didn't get an Avenger movies for a couple of movies, right? So in the sense of a JLA movie, Justice League of America, for those that don't understand, but to get a crime syndicate movie, man, I could see where they do a crime syndicate movie just on their world. We put that to the side. Now you introduce all of our heroes. We love them, but we remember that crime syndicate movie, what's coming. Kind of like we knew what Thanos was coming when we saw him go for the gold Infinity Gauntlet, and we just saw it without the stones. So they left the door open for us. James Gunn has done a really good job for that nature. Again, you miss it. They also introduced Supergirl.
That's another one. Yep, you're
That's
right.
another one, right? That's another one right there. So we're getting a bit of of James Gunn's world of DCU. For me, it is a little bit more comic book accurate, and you have to be able to take what that is. Like people already getting about his cousin being drunk. She's like that in the comic book. She's a kid. She wants to party, and she finds where the Red Sun is at. All in all, I think that James Gunn has done a great job of leaving the door open. The fact that we're able to talk and we don't know the direction they're going to take, and we're able to go with multiple different directions, just shows us where he can take it. That alone is exciting.
Cole, last, again, this is our third time talking about this movie. Obviously, we liked it. I seen it twice. Will you guys see it again? Quick answer, Google. Yes or no?
Yeah.
In the movies, though. In the movies.
If I can, yes. If I can, yes.
So, Cole, final thoughts on what we discussed and what you see coming down the line based off this lead-off movie from James Gunn.
So for me, DC has a bunch of wonderful writers. Their stories always hit top notch. For James Gunn to put us right into the action is not to drag, right? We're not going to drag this out. Here it is. This is what's going on. This is Superman. This is the Justice Gang. This is where we're going to be at this very moment, and leave a whole bunch of holes open to move either direction. I would love for him to go with Kingdom Come. That series was amazing right there. And for those that don't know, Kingdom Come is a great read. I don't want to spoil anything for you guys, but if you guys want, check it out. Kingdom Come is pretty much the basis of Superman coming out of retirement. I'll leave it at that, and then you guys can check that out. Him using Ultraman, that would be great if he brings the crime syndicate. But what I really want to see, that I've been waiting for years, is the Legion of Doom. That's the squad that I'm waiting for. I need a league of just villains to come and start tearing things up and really making some real noise. I love the heroes. Obviously, we need heroes, but we need this Legion of Doom. I'm hoping that little by little he can start creating that. Him giving us Supergirl, like I said prior, I feel like you're going to see how the two movies are going to be together. And I feel like James Gunn is going to have all shows and movies rotated around each other within a universe that we are in, right? Our real Earth. My final take as well, I was thinking about this. So I wasn't too happy about the two post-credit scenes. The first post-credit scene, I think it's a great screensaver, which I have up right now. It's beautiful. It's Krypto and Superman on the moon looking at the Earth. I think it's so cool. But then the second one, I was like, okay. There's a crack on the wall, on the building, and, Superman asked Mr. Terrific, hey, can you fix this? And he's like, dude, I fixed all this, and just this little crack. Yo, what if it's a little nudge of James Gunn saying the DC is cracked, and I fixed it, but I didn't put it perfectly, but you guys always looking at, every imperfection of it. I mean, that's just me thinking out loud, shall I say. But overall, definitely going to see it again. I'll probably see it multiple times like I always do. And I can't wait to see where we go next with this James Gunn DC Studios universe.
So rumors have it that that a Wonder Woman movie is being fast-tracked, meaning that they do have a writer working on the script, and he said when there's a script that we like, that they'll that's when they'll start to cast people. Rumors have suggested I can't pronounce her name, but Bix from Andor who worked with James Gunn before. She could possibly play Wonder Woman. Alan Rickman, or I believe this is his name. They've also, the rumor is him for Batman, but James Gunn kind of like shot that down. Like, yeah, we'll see what happens. But again, we won't know anything, which I think is a good plan. Is when a script is finalized and they like it, that's when they'll start. Casting for the part.
Hey, P and Pooba, I saw an interview with James Gunn talking about Henry Cavill.
Yep.
And him saying that he will be all right with him coming back. Maybe not as Superman, but for him to play a role, that'd be great.
Ultraman.
Yes, the official Ultraman.
Yeah.
Yes.
It would be cool. It would be cool to see
Alan
them.
Rickman, didn't he play Hawk in Titans?
Yes, that's the guy. Yep. Reacher, yeah. He's more known for Reacher because nobody watched Titans except for Puma. Again, guys, thank you all for all the support. If you haven't subscribed and you like what we're talking about or you like looking at us, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification button, hit that like button. And for Cole, for Pooba, for myself, Peacemaker is coming down the line after Fantastic Four, so we're going to be here. You can't get rid of us. We will return.
The worst episode ever.